Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan McNeil. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is the Builder by Day podcast. On today's episode, we're going to do something different, something exciting, hopefully, something enjoyable for you guys to watch. I am going to design and draw a home plan and share my screen as I do it. You will be watching mainly the screen, not me, but I'm just going to talk my way through how I design and draw a plan, as I've mentioned before in some of my previous episodes. For any and all of the homes that I build here at Stonewater Homes, I personally, physically design and draw the floor plans for the homes that we build. And what I'd like to do today is take you through that process as I do it and share with you sort of how I work through the thought process when I'm designing a floor plan. And I'll just talk my way through it as I go and explain a bit about what I'm doing as I do it. Anytime I start with a new plan, there are always criteria, some type of parameter, something that I'm working within. And for this particular plan today, I want to design something small. And I'll walk through the criteria as I do it, but I want this to be a small, what I'm going to refer to as a backyard suite. So if you haven't heard that terminology before, it's a pretty popular term here in this part of the world where I live here in Nova Scotia. Think of this like an in-law suite or a nanny suite. We call them backyard suites or secondary suites. And they're gaining in popularity here, partly because of the unaffordability of housing recently. More and more now we have clients who we chat with who already own a property or are looking to buy a new property or looking to build a new home. But in addition to that, they also want to build a backyard or secondary suite, a separate building from their building that perhaps they have a family member who's going to live there. Maybe they're going to rent it out. Maybe they have teenagers that are about to go to university and they need a place to live. Many different reasons for this. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it's going to be a small plan. I want to be able to, I've never done this before. I've never sort of streamed or shared my screen as I design a plan before. I've actually never designed a home plan, shared the process, kind of walked my way through the process before with an audience. So this is new to me. So bear with me as I go. Once I start drawing, I'm going to share the screen. We'll cut away from myself and we'll cut back to just the screen share itself. As I'm doing this, I'll sort of talk my way through why it is I'm doing things a certain way. Let's get started. The criteria for today, the parameters that I'm going to set is I want this home to be no more than 600 square feet. I want to try to keep it under 600 square feet. And the reason for that is that if we build a home that is less than 600 square feet, we can build that home on a simpler foundation, a more simple slab foundation. Essentially, we can build the home on a concrete foundation that has a 4-inch pad and a thickened perimeter, like an 8 or 10-inch thickened perimeter. But if we stay under 600 square feet, we don't have to get into an engineered concrete slab or full frost walls infilled and then a slab poured on that. It cuts down significantly on the cost of the foundation. And this is a reason why I've built hundreds of garages over the years. The most popular size garage is a 24 by 24 because it stays just under the 600 square foot limit and allows you to install a regular, very simple concrete slab. And so we're going to take the same theory here and we're going to keep our backyard suite under 600 square feet so that we can install it and build it on a concrete slab and not get into frost walls or engineering. Okay, so let's dive into this. When I am designing a floor plan, I'm using a software program, of course, as you can see, and I'm going to be sharing this screen. And you can see me moving my mouse around here. Now, one thing I will mention is that when I'm designing a home plan and drawing it, I have one hand on a mouse, one hand on my keyboard, and I'm off. You're going to hear a lot of clicking and button snapping. It'll be interesting to see how quickly I can put this together. Okay, so keeping in mind that my parameters are that I want this to be one level on a slab under 600 square feet, and I would like it to be a proper house. I want this to be something that you could consider a home and you could live in. So I wanted to have a bedroom, a kitchen, a full bathroom, and laundry services, laundry facilities in the unit. Okay? I want this to be a proper, self-contained, very comfortable living space that somebody could live in as a one-bedroom home. Okay, the first thing I do when I draw a floor plan, of course, is to draw the exterior walls. So currently, right now, I'm drawing the shape that I have in my head of what this building will look like. Now, in this program, when I draw the exterior walls to begin with, it automatically builds a roof. I don't want to have the roof lines on there just yet, so I'm going to delete that. Now, I know that 24 by 24 is a size that keeps me under the threshold of 600 square feet. But I don't want this to just be a square rectangle. So I'm going to just toy around with the dimensions until, see, we're 602. I got to shave a little bit out of this yet. Let's go. Oh, not quite an even dimension. I also like to work with nice, even numbers. I don't generally like to draw plans if I can avoid it. I don't generally like to use exterior dimensions that are, maybe 6-inch increments, but I like to keep them to nice, even numbers, to the foot rather than to the inch. So here's a footprint that is 24 feet wide, as you can see across the top. We're 28 feet down this side. And I've bumped this back in for two reasons. One, we want to see this number. We're at 594 square feet, so that's okay. We're under the 600. So I'm going to draw an interior wall here. Okay, I'm going to put an interior wall down through the middle of the house like this. What I'm picturing is that I have the living space, sort of living, dining, kitchen in this section. And I'm picturing bedroom, bathroom, and then some kind of laundry or utility room back here. Okay, I'm going to pull this wall back for just a minute so it keeps this dimension whole. See this 24 feet? Okay, so folks, this is the basic shape. Let's move this wall for a second. This is the basic shape of our floor plan. Okay, it is 24 feet wide, 22 feet down this side. This will be a covered porch or entry. We have a room here that is 11 feet wide on the outward dimensions. This is the outside dimensions of the wall. So this will be a 10-foot wide room inside, and then 28 feet deep down the side. Now, so this is the exterior of our building. We are under 600 square feet. So far, mission accomplished. Now the trick is, can we fit everything into this plan that we want to fit? Remember, what I want here is a bedroom, a full bathroom, kitchen, some sort of dining area, of course, a living room area, and ideally a separate room that would have utility space and probably the laundry. Now we're going to move on to the interior. So when I move to the interior, I grab my interior wall tool, and I'm going to first draw a wall right there, because this building clearly is defined and easily separated by that wall. We line this wall up with the outside wall, and we have two halves. So what I picture here is bedroom, bathroom, utility/laundry, and a front door coming in here, walking into the living space, sort of dining space. This could be an island, I'm not sure yet. And I'm picturing the cabinetry on the back wall so that we can get a kitchen window in here as well. And then we can have windows on the front and back side of the home. We can have a window here. This is where the bedroom will be. And we might even get a window back here in this utility area that I'm thinking. When I'm designing a home, I will often just throw the lines in generally how I picture the shape of this thing being. So if this was going to be our utility room back here, I'd like to keep it 6 feet wide. I'll label these rooms as I go along. When I click on a wall like this, see how it gives me this dimension? It says 6'1". That's to the studs. So then when we take a 1/2 inch off for drywall on the outside wall and a 1/2 inch of drywall on the interior wall, we're down to a finished measurement of 6 feet inside. Now, I will also mention that when I draw a plan like this, I'm not sweating over the small details at this point. So I'm not worried if it's 6'1" or 5'10" or 6'2", okay? Generally speaking, I want it to be 6 feet for the utility/laundry room. Because even in a small plan like this, it's only 600 square feet in size. We're still going to need all of the things that you need in a house. And if this plan is being built, especially on land that is unserviced, there may be a need for a small water treatment system. Certainly going to be a need for some kind of well pressure tank for your water. And of course, we're going to have we'll have a pressure tank for the well. We'll have a small hot water tank. We'll have an HRV we have to get in here. And then we're going to try to get the laundry in there as well. So we want this room for utility space. Now, down here on the front of the house, I'm picturing this being a bedroom. And I'm not sure yet what we're looking at for size. We have 10 feet of width running this way. That's certainly enough for a bathroom. Maybe we'd make the bathroom, maybe we put the bathroom right here. And if we're putting a bathroom there, Let's label it. And on the front of the house is a bedroom. Okay. There's a tool here I can use called a room divider. I'm just going to throw this in here so it divides these spaces. Remember I mentioned that I'm thinking about putting the kitchen back here. I was picturing this being more the dining space. Although in a small plan like this, we're not shooting for formal dining. So it may turn out that there is no dining space. Actually, let's scrap that. I don't think we're going to be able to have enough room there to have a very identifiable dining space. So let's just call this living space. Okay. And I think we'll probably, if we want to put an island here, 9 feet would do the trick to the back side of the island. And that would give us about 12 and a half feet by 12 feet wide for the living space. Okay. So at this point, we have a very simple design that is starting to look like something inside. I've put some labels here. You guys can see what this is looking like. I'm picturing the front door entering here. Let's throw that in there. That's swinging the wrong way. So let's flip it around. I like to keep that door about 6 inches off the wall. So I'm picturing walking in through the front door. You're in the living space. The kitchen is going to be running across the back wall here. And this is the bedroom. 10 by 10 is not a huge room by any means. We can get away with a little less hallway space there. So, we're almost 10 and a half. Now, naturally, we're going to do something better with this space, but we don't have a closet yet for this bedroom. We also don't have any type of entrance closet, and closets are your friend. So let's pull this back here a bit and see how much room we have. We're going to want enough room, obviously, to get in the door. Let's just make this 3'10". Yeah, we're getting a little skinny here on room. See, this is the challenge. The challenge with small home plans is that you don't have a lot of room. 3'10" gives us enough room to have a door coming into each room. Let's make sure these doors are... In this part of the world where I build here in Nova Scotia, the building code requires that all interior doors be 36 inches. So 36-inch doors obviously take a little more space than, say, 30 or 32-inch doors. But we're going to situate them and see what we're working with. That is enough room to do it. This could be perhaps... I think we want to make that a full depth closet. So we're going to make this closet look something like this. And this will be our bedroom closet. Now the bedroom closet is not quite a walk-in. We don't have a lot of room there. We're going to throw a 32-inch door on this one. Okay, now we're looking at starting to come together a little more, right? Now we're looking at a plan that has a living space, a kitchen space, utility / laundry area, a bathroom, full bathroom, a bedroom, a closet, and a bedroom closet itself. Okay? So we have a closet that this could be an entrance closet or a linen closet, and this will be the closet for the bedroom. So theoretically, we haven't confirmed the details yet. I like to first get the shape, and then I'll move on to the other details. All right, this is starting to look like something. So theoretically, this will work. I can already tell that this is going to be enough space. Pull that door down a minute. Now, if we start filling it in a little bit, this will start to look like something. So I'm going to run these cabinets here this way. Now, today I'm not going to get into probably placing all the details. I just want to make sure everything fits. And so far, it's looking good. Now I can continue to place some more details in here. So I'll go ahead and put a vanity in here in the bathroom. Let's make this vanity 36 inches wide. That'll give us enough room for a little drawer bank. We have 10 feet. We could probably actually go, it's the only vanity we have. Let's make it 42 inches wide. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that looks good. Then over on this side in the bathroom, let's place, we're going to go with a standard one-piece tub shower unit, okay? And the last thing we need in here is a toilet. Now, in this little utility space, we're probably going to end up with a hot water tank of some kind that we'll have to find room for. Now, in theory, the hot water tank, if you get tight for space, It could sit here. It's only going to be a small one. In a home like this, you're probably only going to install a small 30-gallon hot water tank. That could, in theory, sit here in the closet, but I think we have enough room here to do it as well. But one other thing I'm going to throw in here is, let's see if we can find a laundry. Let's see if we can find a stackable laundry. Do we have that in our library? Laundry center. Boom. Let's put the laundry. We'll put it straight ahead when we walk in from the door. Put it down here against the wall. Now, the other thing in these small plans is it's nice to have some storage space. And we're going to make that 16 inches deep, even if we had a 42 inches. Okay, so what I did here is I threw a little small wall in here. You know what? Now that I see where that laundry is, now that I've added this wall, I think it would be better to throw it back here. Like that. You want to get the laundry away from the doors. You can see it's a little tight here, but so far it's looking good. The other thing that I just added, this little wall, the idea behind that was to throw some shelves in here. I think this could be a bit of a pantry. Like this. Okay, so this will be a door that you can close, of course, and keep the noise of the utility room and the laundry room away from the rest of the house. And when you first walk in, now we have a wall here and some shelving. This could be used as a pantry for the kitchen, food storage. And then we still have this space in the utility room. This will give us a lot of room for the other things we need. We can hang an HRV here. We can install the hot water tank here. We could even put the pressure tank for the well in this space if we need it. We probably realistically even have room for a bit of water treatment system if needed. We have ourselves a functional less than 600 square foot home. For 600 square feet, we have everything in here that we need. 600 square feet is not large, but it seems to be checking all the boxes. Now, remember I talked earlier about perhaps not having enough room to have a proper dining space, but in small plans like this, people aren't looking for, very distinguishable space when you go from kitchen, dining, living space. It definitely all blends together. You could do a couple of different things here. Somebody may be inclined to put an island here. Let's just, for argument's sake, let's put a island that's 60 inches wide, 5 feet wide, 3 feet deep. If you wanted to, you could, rather than putting a dining table in there, you could put a kitchen island and you could have seating at the back of your island here. And that's it. So you have your kitchen, your island seating space. There's nothing in this island. I'm picturing the sink being in the center. So you have all this island space. But even if you wanted to, you could take the sink from this back wall and put it in the island. The other thing you could do, you can just imagine that this space, what I've drawn as an island, that could very easily just be a dining room table. I'm going to remove it for the time being. One thing I haven't done to this point is I haven't used the tool to kind of show you what it looks like. So I'm going to click this little camera button here. I'm going to give you a full overview of what this thing looks like. I should mention that the software program that I'm using, see how it's showing a concrete wall here, it's showing a frost. Your backfill line, the ground level would be up here where my mark is. And we're not building it like this. I would build this home on a slab. So you wouldn't have this concrete footing and you wouldn't have this 4-foot frost wall like they're showing. This would be just on a slab. But this is the general shape of the building. And these are the lines that we've drawn inside. This is our bedroom, closet, entrance closet, bedroom closet, bathroom, utility, laundry, kitchen, eating area, living room space. Okay? Now, let's put a roof on it. Let's see what it looks like with a roof. We'll take it down to like a 6-12 roof pitch. Anytime you build a home like this, affordability is probably top of mind. So we'll keep the roof relatively simple. We're going to make this front wall a gable to give it a little bit of character. Ooh, yeah, that's looking cool. Now, the one thing that's missing here is, remember I mentioned we're going to put a front porch on this thing. That is nice, though. Nice and neat and tidy. Nice looking plan. Okay. Now, I mentioned that we're going to put a front porch on this. So let's take the porch, draw it in here. It looks like if our roof line is just flush across the front. Yeah, that looks good. You know what? I might take it back. We don't need it to be the full 6 feet. Let's come back here, 48. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that better. Keeps the jog out there. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Now, as I say, this is not what it's going to look like. One thing I should mention is that when I design a floor plan, I use this software program to design a floor plan because it's an easier, faster way for me to get it drawn than to actually design the floor plan by using AutoCAD from the beginning. Now, when we draw these plans to build them, you won't see this. This won't exist, right? Remember, the program defaults to showing footings below grade and a foundation wall, and even it's realistically showing the house sitting at finished grade up here. It's kind of showing the house sitting out of the ground like this. It won't look like that, okay? This will be built on a slab. I'd have to change the settings to do that. I didn't do that prior to starting this particular project, and I don't bother with that because I know what it's going to look like. I know that it's not going to be this way. Just imagine it will look more so like the bottom of the siding line. That's kind of the finished mark, right? You'll see a little bit of concrete exposed, but for the most part, this is your finished line. Also, the other thing that won't exist on this particular plan is I drew a deck so that it would build the roof line over the deck like this. See how that roof comes out over the deck? Well, this program requires me to build the deck so that I can then tell it it's a covered deck and it will draw the roof line out over the deck. But we wouldn't actually have these railings. And of course, it wouldn't be a railing coming across the front door like this, but we wouldn't have railings here at all. And we also probably wouldn't have any decking. We would probably, in a house built on a slab like this would probably just be some sort of concrete or paver stones or something of that nature, some kind of landscape product, hardscaping to finish this off and make a nice little slab on grade entrance. Not likely that you're going to build this out of lumber or composite decking, and certainly you're not going to have these railings. Okay, so just bear with me. That's just how the program illustrates this. I could dive into it, change the settings, and make that, and then it would be illustrated more correctly, but it's easier for me just to explain what the deal is. I'm going to change this back wall to a gable. I want to see how this will look if we put a double gable in the front of this thing. I'm also going to change this wall so that the roof in that section is a gable. And you can see how much different this little plan looks if you change the roof line. I actually kind of like the double gable. I like the double gable more. Now, the only thing, again, about this program is that it doesn't really illustrate this quite correctly. We would have a beam running across here, and we'd have a post over here picking up this point load. And so this would look a little more neat and tidy. And you could do some cool stuff here if you wanted to. You could put some kind of accent siding up here or some kind of decorative, some kind of change in siding or texture. We're going to put a couple windows in here. Let's make these single casement rather. And this kitchen window, I'm going to put dead smack in the center of the back of the kitchen because I'm picturing a sink going right there. Now, realistically, okay, maybe I'll go through this. Let me do this. If we're going to draw it, let's draw it, right? I should mention that I normally flow through this with a little more ease than I'm working through today because I currently have my laptop that I'm drawing the plans on and sharing the screen with you guys. And then I have a separate MacBook over here that I am recording the audio and video for this video itself. And I have those two keyboards that I'm paying attention to. And then I also have an external keyboard and mouse that I'm using to avoid from reaching up here and clicking on the laptop. I only mention that to you because when I'm drawing a plan like this, I am usually pretty efficient with it, and I don't feel like I'm as efficient as I normally am currently. And that's because I'm sort of not in my environment at the moment. Using some things I don't normally use. Okay, so what I want to do here is, how wide do we got here? We're going to place 18 inches, beauty. Okay, I installed the wrong sink there. Whatever sink I grabbed from that, we're going to put a 36-inch base cabinet. This windows are probably a little too large. Let's drop this down to a 30. And let's go in here and grab a sink again. It's this bad boy, double sink. There we go. All right. So realistically, if we were designing this thing, we need something in the middle there. That could be like a 15-inch cabinet maybe. We got enough room for that? And we could have another. I don't like having the range tight against the wall. This might have to drop down to a 12. Might have to be some kind of a small spice rack or something. How wide's this bad boy? 30. Yeah, this is standard. A little tight. We're going to drop that down to a 12 as well. Now, 12-inch cabinets, not ideal. But remember, we're trying to fit a lot of things in here. There we go. Okay. So now for illustration purposes, I have placed a refrigerator. I've installed the sink. I've put the dishwasher, or excuse me, the oven on one side, and I would expect that this cabinet right here is a 24-inch cabinet. We would put the dishwasher here. So, I mean, it's tight, but the reality is everything is here in this kitchen. And remember, as I mentioned, somebody may be inclined to install an island right here, pull the sink out of this wall, put it in the island, have the sink facing, the living room. But I'm not going to do that for now. I'm going to leave it this way. I'm going to throw a few more windows in here. Let me show you the full perspective overview here. Okay, now we have some windows, right? Bedroom window, front door, living room window. No windows on the side. Certainly could add them if you wanted to. This is our kitchen window. You can see our little faucet there. And no windows down this side. Think of our building this. I would probably throw a window right there. Maybe something like that. Let's put our roof back on. Keeping everything the same as it was before. I went with that double gable. But you know what? Maybe I won't, because it doesn't illustrate things quite correctly on this plan. I want you guys to get a better sense of what this looks like. Okay. So this is essentially our finished floor plan for a 594 square foot home built on a slab. And this floor plan has everything you need in a home. It has a bedroom. It has an entrance closet. It has a bedroom closet. It has a full bathroom. It has a utility space with a small pantry area, open shelving, food storage, stackable laundry, and room over here in the utility space for utilities, HRV, water heater, perhaps water treatment system, pressure tank if needed. And then in the living space, you have a living room with some dining, eat-in area, and then a kitchen on the back wall with a window and another window here for some natural light. And then when we build the roof and we take a look at this, we get this cute little 600 square foot, super efficient, one level living house. Imagine if you walk in the front door, looks like this. I didn't put upper cabinets in yet. I'll do that in a minute. See this little space right here? You walk in, you'd have probably a sofa sitting here and maybe another chair or something. Little dining space. Let's look from the other angle. You walk down here. Here we go. There's our pantry door or utility room door, closet, bathroom, and this is the bedroom door here. This is nice. Something I see. I think I'm going to do something a little different there. I'm going to bring this wall back across, and rather than completely open that up, I'm going to make that more of a doorway opening. So there'll be a header. You'll see what I mean. Check this out. Now let's go back to our camera. Let me show you what we did there. See, I put a header around that. So this wall used to go all the way to the top. So I put a header across there now, and it just kind of closes that space in a little bit, makes it feel a little cozier in this room. Also, there's 3 doors in that space. It's a little busy, and it just kind of closes it off a bit. Let's put some wall cabinets in. When I'm designing a floor plan, the cabinet details is not something that I dive into at this stage. It's just not necessary. And the tool that I'm using is not efficient enough to be doing it this way. So, but probably more so something like that. Let me just go back out here. Because I think what you'd do in a house like this is you'd want to do probably a microwave range hood. So we'd have a range hood sitting here, built-in microwave range hood with cabinets above. Again, I would take these cabinets all the way to the top for illustration purposes. Here we go. Now we're starting to look like something. Now this has defaulted to 9-foot ceilings. And that would be another thing that probably you wouldn't do in a plan this size. You'd probably go 8-foot ceilings because 8-foot ceilings are more efficient to build. And if you're building a small 600 square foot home, you are probably doing that because you're on a budget and you're trying to build it as efficiently as possible. So I hope you enjoyed this today. Every time I design a home, I have criteria. It could be criteria that I've come up with myself because it could be a home that I'm designing as a model home or a spec home, something to be sold. It could be a home that I'm designing for the QE2 home lottery. So I'm coming up with a new design that we haven't built before, and that might be 4,500 square feet. This particular plan is 600 square feet. On one hand, it's of course much easier to design and draw small floor plans because they are small. There's not much to them. But they come with their own set of challenges because if you only have 594 square feet and you're trying to get bedrooms and closets and bathrooms and utility rooms and kitchens and living space all in 600 square feet, you have to be very efficient with how you lay things out. This is the first step, is to design the home, the floor plan layout, and then know that everything's going to fit and everything works. And then from here, take it and draw the details. I hope you enjoyed watching me design and draw this floor plan. If you did, please make a comment down below. Please like or subscribe. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.